All right, everybody. So for those of you guys who've been watching me for a while now, and I mean like a while, I mean like since 2020, you might remember a classic Xander Hall community meme, the infiltrating the commentary / drama community meme. I have succeeded. I have infiltrated. In all seriousness, like way back in the day, back in like 2020, I did a whole meme about like infiltrating the drama and commentary community. And as much of a bit as it was, the actual sentiment behind that was basically that I feel that there is a lot of political leanings in the commentary and drama community, a lot of crossover with EdgeTube, and a lot of, basically connections with EdgeTube. And EdgeTube also happens to be pretty right-leaning when it comes to politics. Just generally speaking, politics tend to lean a little bit more on the right, if not more favorable to the right than to the left, for no other reason than the left generally expects more out of you than the right does. Like, if you're an edgy boy, the right doesn't expect you to change or anything. Hell, just meme harder if you want to do better on the right. The left expects you to change and grow and all that stuff, and many people in EdgeTube are very opposed to that idea, which is why when any former EdgeTuber starts leaning more left-wing and getting more progressive, they start getting seen as, like, fallen off. Oh, they suck now. They've become insufferable, whatever it may be. They did it with Ethan Klein. They did it with iDubbbz. And now they're trying to do it with Tipster, apparently. Tipster used to be, like, very much ingrained in that area of, like, the drama and commentary community, but a little bit more lately, I've noticed that he's gotten more involved with politics, and not only that, but he's not jumped on the bandwagons that so many others in that community have jumped on, at least not as readily. He still thinks for himself, he's not, like, just jumped on board with the left on everything, but, like, it's very clear that he is not just willing to, like, jump onto whatever bandwagon is popular within the commentary or drama community, which is something that I respect a lot, because it is very easy to just kind of play into what is popular and what's expected and what's kind of the party line you're expected to toe in these communities, because if you don't, the repercussions socially can be pretty bad as a content creator. So with that said, recently, Tipster did, I think just last night, Tipster did a sort of debate with AugieRFC, another commentary drama YouTuber who is much more ingrained in EdgeTube, I would say, about this very topic. And one of the notable issues of the discussion was also Tipster's association with Keffals, good friend of the show as well, because you might know this, or you might not know this, but EdgeTube loves Kiwi Farms. And Kiwi Farms hates Keffals because she's trans, and went after her. And, Keffals basically did this Drop Kiwi Farms campaign, which the goal was to make Cloudflare, which is like this big website hosting thing, drop Kiwi Farms, which is the, drop Kiwi Farms, which they did. They succeeded. And ever since then, Kiwi Farms has been having a very hard time staying up, and it has cost the guy who runs Kiwi Farms a lot of money, time, and effort just to keep the site going at this point. It is essentially just like, it's in a comatose state in regards to its, like, running, as far as I know. With that said, like, a lot of the right, a lot of EdgeTube fucking hates Keffals for this, and apparently that ends up being a very big point of contention in this video. So yeah, I'm excited to review this debate. I have not seen any of it, though I know a lot of people are talking about it, and I'm excited to give my thoughts. So let's get into it.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Let me go ahead and take this. Hey, Augie, how's it going, man?
What's going on, man? Bro.
Not much, just vibing.
So, we're just vibing or whatever. So I wanted to fucking, because, like, there's been a lot of, like, fucking back and forth bullshit happening between our communities or whatever. So I wanted to, like, speak to you finally and get some of the answers, because I'm a little confused on what's happening. So I don't know if I'm, like, totally disrupting your stream right now or something, but...
No, you're fine. I actually finished my last...
So, okay, I want to say right off the bat, so far this is going a lot friendlier and more cordially than I was expecting. I'll admit I didn't know the context of this conversation going in, so I'll admit that, like, I didn't know if we're right off the bat going all for blood, I don't know if this is going to be a really, aggressive start to the debate, but I'm happy to see it's not, like, really blood sporty off the bat. I'm wondering if it does get blood sporty or if this just ends up being a really productive, cordial conversation, because I literally know nothing about it, other than apparently Tipster does a pretty good job of holding his own, and that's definitely something I'm happy to hear. Voosh spotted? Oh yeah, that's Vosh's thumbnail in the recommended videos. Tipster's been watching some Vouch.
Segment for the night, so you're all good.
All right, so we have plenty of time to talk about this or whatever.
Sure.
So, you know, I'm gonna just start with like what I'm like the most curious about or something, right? And you can sort of explain to me what really happened, so I know what's going on. But I was told that the other night you did a stream where you talked about how like the old community like made you like consider like suicide or something like that. And this could be all bullshit. I don't know if this happened, but
it's not exactly what I said.
Like,
that's not exactly what I said.
Happened?
So I did kind of have like a bit of a moment. And like I did talk about how like I felt like the community was like an unhealthy place for me to be, right? And so like I made the decision to like leave because it was a genuinely unhealthy place for me to be. You know, it's one of those things where like, you know, we always talk about how like Jalen runs into a lot of the problems she has because like she's probably like in a place that she doesn't belong, because it results in this pattern of her like getting into these really sticky situations. And I kind of found myself in that same thing where it's like, okay, if I'm having like mental health issues related to my association with this community, maybe it's time for me to leave, you know, looking out for like my own best interests, I guess you can say.
Right.
That's reasonable.
Well, like what problems were you having? Like, how was the community like fucking bad for you or something? Like, and when you say community, like who are we even talking about? Is it just? I mean, like
it's just the greater community. It's like the orbiters to the community. It's like, you know, other creators in the community. Just as a whole, like it wasn't a healthy place for me to be, and so I decided that it would probably be best for me to move on.
Well, aren't you like making the same type of content though?
Yeah, but like I don't have to associate with the community in order to do that, right? Like I can kind of just exist in my own, I guess you could say, side of the internet or whatever.
Well, I don't really see much of a difference in like what you're doing now versus then. That's what I'm like.
So I want to add a little bit to this thing that Tipster said here. I obviously don't know the details of what he's gone through or anything like that, because I'm not him or anyone in his family or anything like that. But, I mean, from what I've seen of the drama and commentary community, it really is just a space focused on almost exclusively, like, weaponized negativity. For the sake of, like, a very select group of large content creators in that sphere making, you know, a bunch of money, right? It can be a very toxic space. And that's not even getting into the politics of any of it. Like, it is just generally a pretty toxic space. And I think it's not really... One of the things that upsets me about a lot of the content creators in this drama commentary space is because they're so connected to EdgeTube. And I'm not saying that's what Augie is doing here right now, because I do actually think Augie is being pretty compassionate and sincere. Is that a lot of people in the commentary, drama, and like EdgeTube sphere can view the types of things that Tipster is saying right now as showing weakness and as worthy of like just outright ridicule. Because how dare you allow blood to be drawn from you when you're in this, you know, toxic, extremely competitive space where everybody is out to get somebody else, you know? Everybody wants to take down somebody else, and it's seen as cringe to let anything get to you, right? That's a big part of why people like Jalen get so much shit, is because so many people literally just see it as cringe that she lets harassment get to her. But it's like, that's the normal response to have, but people online champion this hardcore, external, no blood from a stone kind of mindset, you know?
Confused about like it doesn't really make any sense to me, because if you're covering the same stuff and you keep saying like you're not interacting with certain aspects of it, like what are you talking about?
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that I haven't really engaged with like the rest of the community in a while now. I mean, like even like look at like your show. When was the last time I called into your show, right? It's been a really long time.
Right.
Yeah.
So you think like the area around like my show is like too toxic or something?
I mean, you know, I don't mean to say this to like sound like a dick or whatever,
it can
but like,
be a
yeah,
slightly
like
toxic
to some extent,
space.
yeah. I found myself with that part of the community, just like it genuinely, truly wasn't a healthy place for me to be.
Well, why? Like, what were they doing?
I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I found myself like getting into these stupid situations
So-
where I was like responding.
This is an unfortunate situation. I completely understand what Tipster means when he says this, but bringing up exact examples, as much as I do think it is warranted, and I don't think there's anything wrong with Augie being like, okay, well, like, can you give any examples? I don't think this is a gotcha. I think this is genuine, like, concern. But it can be hard to think of examples of this stuff on the fly, admittedly. Like, when you're in this space and you just see a lot of tweets and a lot of shit going down, a lot of live streams and reactions to certain drama, it can really feel like it just all kind of piles up. Like, really, if you weren't, like, so invested in politics, how likely would it be that you could remember every awful thing Trump has done, for example, you know? After a while, it all just kind of folds into each other, and it can be hard to think of direct examples. So yeah, I can understand if Tipster has a problem, or has, like, a little trouble thinking of anything off the bat. Apparently, Tipster did include a bit of stuff in the description of this video to give a little bit of extra context to points that he'd wish he'd made in the debate, which is understandable. I've had debates before as well where it's like, literally the night later, like, I'm literally laying in bed and it's like, fuck, even if I won that debate, I feel like there's an argument I could have made better that just comes to me later, and I feel like this sense of FOMO. If I should have said this instead of this at this point, or I should have not forgotten to say this particular thing, you know? And it can be a bit frustrating, but it's normal. Literally the only thing that gets you better at that is practice.
The shit that I really shouldn't have, like, bothered with or whatever, or like getting upset about things that, like, I probably should have just, like, fucking ignored. And it was just like this, like, weird, like, impulse of, like, anytime some stupid little drama happened, I always felt the need to, like, engage with it. And so rather than, like, continuing to go through that fucking cycle, I'm just like, well, this is not healthy for me, so I need to go, right?
Understandable.
Well, aren't you just like, then I don't understand like why you're like blaming like the quote unquote community for that, right? Like, it just seems like a you problem, you know what I mean? Where it's like, oh,
I mean, to some
like,
extent it is. To some extent it is, but it's just one of those things where that community.
Well, so remember, guys, this feels a little dishonest, because this whole conversation started off under the premise that it was just like, yeah, what's going on with you, Tipster? Like, why did you choose to distance yourself from the commentary community and the drama community in this space? And Tipster's giving his reasoning, and then Augie's response is, that sounds like more of a you problem. Well, Tipster's not giving his reason for why he chose to distance himself from the space as a condemnation of your sphere, though it may kind of seem that way, since these are negative traits that he is describing as why he left, but, like, he's just explaining his experience, so I don't know. It feels a little weird to respond, but that sounds like more of a you problem to a conversation that's entirely under the pretext of discussing a him problem, I guess, you know? Also, that was a perfect counter that I just pulled off. That was pretty dope.
Just caused me to, like, be in this, like, unhealthy cycle where I'm just like, I need to go, you know? Like, if I want what's best for me, it's time to go.
I mean, yeah, I mean, what you're saying is like the community would always like get you into acting like the same way that like Jalen would act, where you just do the same stuff over and over and over again or whatever. Mm-hmm. So you're just saying like you're sick of that, right? But in my head, it's like, okay, well, if you're sick of that, then why even cover drama at all? It seems like the main problem is like you just don't feel like you're in a position where you can like criticize people or whatever.
I mean, I think
but that's still what you do.
That's
I mean, no, like I feel like there's like a way to do it without like engaging. Like I don't understand like what's so difficult to understand about this. It's just a case of like,
well,
you know, I like to.
Big.
Well, no, like I like to make the kind of content that I make, but like it's not the content that was the problem for me. It was the people in the community that creates that content. I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward now.
I mean, do you want to like name? I just don't know. Like, are you talking about me or Nick? Are you talking about like who were the fucking assholes?
I mean, there was just like a bunch of people. I mean, like, I'll be honest with you and say, like, were there times when like you or Nick or like someone else would say something that I didn't like? Yeah, sure. Like, of course, right? But like at the end of the day, like it was just I I don't know how else to put it. I found myself in this cycle of like running into these like stupid little fucking dramas that I could have easily avoided if I just left and did my own thing. And so that's kind of what I'm doing now. I'm doing my own thing. Right?
I guess, dude, you're big as fuck right now. Like, I'm not trying to be like a fucking dick where I'm just like, well, say what you really mean.
Well, because the thing is like, the thing is like, I feel like you want me to like start name dropping people to start like burning bridges, and like that was never my intent. Like I'm gonna go and do my own.
You don't have to burn bridges. I'm just trying to figure out like what is an example of like behavior that you saw in this community where you were like, whoa, like this is fucking. I don't want to be associated with this, because when you're like vaguely implying that it's like me or Nick's community, I want to know like what did they fucking. Is it me or Nick? Is it like actions we made? Is it the way that we acted? Is it our community?
An example that I would probably give is like the hardcore dick riding for Sam Hyde. Like, I'll admit there have been some lefties who have not done the most fantastic job explaining why the left-wing people typically have a bone to pick with Sam's content and politics and public figure. But like there is some pretty solid evidence that is very easy to access and find that Sam Hyde is a Nazi. So like I'd say one of the best points that could be made, one of the most go-to examples that's the most recent, is the hardcore Sam Hyde defense to try to like shit on iDubbbz. The calling Anissa Joma, iDubbbz' wife, like a whore and a slut because she does OnlyFans, and like iDubbbz a cuck for being okay with that. I'd say that's like generally pretty toxic behavior. If I were to give my take on it, that's just my opinion.
Is it our chat? Is it people like fucking Alex and Spawnow from the fucking chat shitting you on Twitter? Like, what exactly is like the fucking behavior that you think is like too toxic?
I literally already said that. Like I said, like yeah, there were times when like things you guys would say like I didn't
like, you
appreciate.
don't like,
but like also there was like the way like the orbiters and like maybe I guess you could say like your fan base or your guys' fan bases, like the way they would like react to shit. Like if you want a perfect example of like something that like you said, for example, that I wasn't happy about, the coverage of like the AP situation, there was something that was said during your coverage that I don't mind if you cover it. Like it's a funny situation, right? Obviously cover whatever you want to cover. But like one of the things that you said in that like stream that like kind of bothered me, if I'm being totally honest with you, is you had reached out to me and you had asked like, yo, like what's the deal with like you and this girl? Is there something going on? Like what's the deal? And I kind of like let you know like, yeah, it sucks. It's a shitty situation, but like there's nothing going on between, me and this girl or anything like that. It's just, I guess she just got upset. And I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly what I said, but basically I told you there's nothing going on with me and this girl that's like cheating on my wife or anything like that. And then like you went on your stream and you turned around and you said, Tipster said this isn't cheating, but I got to be honest, big X to doubt. And so like when I saw that, like admittedly, I didn't.
Okay. Yeah, I think that is a pretty good example of what Tipster's been talking about. There does tend to be a bit of a cynical implication of hostility when it comes to stuff like this. That looks like it's just being painted in a veneer of like, all in good fun humor that a lot of people in the sphere can do. But yeah, that is a good example of that tendency. It can be pretty toxic. Oh, is it not playing?
Really appreciate that. And that has resulted in this like constant shitstorm of like, I always have to hear about how I cheat on my wife with e-girls all the time ever since then. And it's like, do I like that? No. Like, is it bridge burning worthy that happened? No, it's not. But like at the same time, like, was it frustrating to deal with? Yeah, of course it was.
You think like I contributed to people saying that you like cheated on your wife or something by saying that, or are you just more personally offended by me saying that?
I mean, to be completely honest, to some extent, yeah. Like, I don't think that was your intention, but I think, yeah. Because we talked about this recently when I DM'd you about something. And I was like, I think your audience doesn't understand sometimes that it's a joke, right? Like, they take it seriously. They think it's like a real thing. So, like, when you said that, I don't know if you actually felt like what you were saying was true, or I don't know if that was a joke, another joke by you, but your audience took it seriously, right? So,
Well,
yeah, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
okay, if you're talking about the AP DMs or whatever, it's like, I mean, you were fucking flirting with her in private, right?
I mean, no, not really. I mean, maybe that's your interpretation of like flirting, but no, that's not flirting. I
I
think what
mean, you were
people fail to.
commenting about how like hot she looks and that she was your like goth mommy, and you like that shit. Like,
Well, the
the
funny
DMs
thing
were
about the
pretty.
goth mommy thing is that like goth mommy wasn't even a name that I gave her. It was someone in my chat who gave her that name. She was on my stream one time and she had her face cam on, right? And like somebody commented that she looked like a goth mommy, and it was in reference that to the fact that she looked goth and she's a mom, right? So that became like this meme between us and like all of our other friends and stuff that she was the goth mommy. So there's like so much context there that everybody's missing. And at the time she was able to take.
It's so like I do think just the fact that like the drama community got so like up and involved in Tipster's marriage in the first place is kind of like evidence of how toxic it can be. Like it doesn't matter like what's going on with your life. You are going to have people, in this sphere that are dedicated to just digging in and finding everything they can about you. Mostly, almost exclusively looking for negatives. Demon Mama talked about this. It's called context collapse. I've never heard that phrase before, but I do think that is a good term for it by the way that it sounds. My understanding of like basically over time, the actual story gets diluted and dissolved in an internet game of telephone until a more easy to spin into a narrative story becomes the truth by the internet standard.
That and make it look like something it wasn't. But no, there was nothing there between me and her. It was just banter between two friends. I joke with a lot of friends like that, both publicly and privately. And I don't know, maybe you guys just never noticed that I make those kind of jokes with people who are comfortable with those kind of jokes. But no, there was nothing there between me and her. And on top of that, like, she later came out and admitted that there was nothing between us. She apologized to me and my wife for everything that happened. And like, still people still believe that there was something between me and her. And it's just not the case.
So like, I'm not trying to like clip chimp you, but I'm just genuinely asking, like, when you're saying stuff like, I thought you looked great in that photo, goth mommy could get it or whatever, and you're talking about how you're like home alone.
They're fucking jokes.
I mean, there's just so many, and it's in private. It's like, who's the joke?
So, I want to remind you, by the way, this conversation started seemingly under the pretext of just a chill convo about like why Tipster felt like personally like he wanted to get out of the drama commentary community, and now it's literally like him trying to interrogate him on like whether or not he cheated on his wife, when this has clearly been settled drama by the sounds of things. And if like the girl in question, who's supposedly the one that Tipster was cheating on his wife with, has also come out saying this has all been a misunderstanding, I'm sorry, and there's like been public statements on both sides about this, it really does seem like it's grasping at straws for the sake of drumming up controversy, which is the thing that Tipster is criticizing.
For? Like,
I mean, at the end of the day, what does it matter? My wife's aware of it, and she doesn't give a shit about it. So, like, what does it fucking matter?
Well, yeah,
like, if your view of relationship is like, I wouldn't allow that in my relationship, that's fine. Like, everybody has different like boundaries within their own relationships, and like with me and my wife, like she's okay with me making these kind of comments and these kind of jokes with my friends. So, like, I don't really see what the issue is.
I don't know, man.
You know, if you're reaching out to me and you're asking me, hey, is there something going on between you and this girl? And I'm telling you, no, there's not. Like, why go on a stream and then turn around and say X'd out?
Bro, you got busted like talking like just, I mean, flat out, like whether you want to say it's a joke or not, you got busted talking like sexually to another fucking woman.
Was it really sexual though?
I mean, you were saying she could get it. Like, what's the implication?
Yeah,
there?
as a fucking joke, dude.
But that's
like,
sexual. Whether you want to say it's a joke or not, like that's sexual.
I mean,
so obviously, when I see this shit, am I?
This debate has devolved into an argument about whether or not Tipster was cheating on his wife. This is so bizarre. Do not make me play chess. Do not make me play chess. I don't want to play chess right now. Is Augie 16? Augie... is not 16 years old. Augie is, I believe, like... What? How old is Augie? Wait, hold on, chat. I need to know how old Augie is. I don't know. I think he's got to be, like, in his early 20s, right? Probably, like 21, 22, maybe 23 at the oldest. I don't feel like he could be older than me. 21? Okay. So, something that I've noticed is a big consistency among, like, a lot of the not right wing, but a lot of the EdgeTube drama community sphere that tends to be a little bit more on the, like, you know, right-leaning, kind of edgy, conservative-ish side of things, is that very often I will see them basically, how do I describe this? They will basically insert themselves into the lives and the personal dealings of people that they see as sort of like content farms in a way. Like, what it feels like is Augie came in here to content farm because he views Tipster as a content farm. That's what this seems like to me. And a lot of people in that sphere will do that. And it's not... And the reason why I say that is it doesn't really feel like this is a good faith discussion at this point. And I also want to bring up, you'll notice that, like, Augie is, you know, like 21, right? And Tipster is certainly not in his 20s, I think. I think he's in his 30s, right? So, I mean, he's married, right? He owns a house, I'm sure. Like, he's established in life. He's lived, you know? I think a lot of this is maturity, too. I think a lot of EdgeTubers and a lot of, like, the commentary, you know, drama community, I think a lot of them are... maybe not on everything, but on many of these issues, going to look back and kind of cringe at how they used to be. We're already kind of seeing it. Like, Tipster used to be in this community, and he found himself kind of getting older and growing out of it. There is a certain point where, like, if this kind of shit is what you live by at a certain age, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, let's not ignore, like, the blatant hilarity of the fact that Keemstar is, like, in his late 30s, maybe even early 40s at this point, I don't even know, and yet he's hosting, like, influencer boxing events. Like, it is the kind of thing that you tend to grow out of in terms of, like, hardcore investment to it.
Am I really that fucking out of line? Again, look, I'm just saying, I'm not...
So, like, what was the point of reaching out to me and getting my side then?
What do you mean?
What was the point in even asking me, like, yo, is there something going on with you two, if you're just going to turn around and say big X to doubt?
Well, because it's still my opinion. It's just because I ask you for, like, what you're
Thanks for the money, you fucking
look, in my
simp.
opinion, and most people's
No
opinion, like,
dancing
when I
palm
showed that
trees,
to the fucking chat,
13
they
Canadian
would
dollars
view
and
you
99
messaging
cents.
another woman that's not your
Don't
fucking
play
wife
Augie's game.
as, like,
He is only
some,
trying to
like,
create
you
a
know,
TTS.
form of
so he
cheating. I
can
mean, this is a
twist it and
popular
bury
opinion.
you.
You know what I mean?
PLS
Like,
don't give
this
him
is
the
not
clips.
something that
But
I'm
at the
just
end,
saying
but at
to
the end of the
stick to you.
day, what matters is mine and my wife's personal boundaries in our relationship, and nothing else matters outside of
And
that.
well, then if everything's good there, then, like, me fucking giving, like, a retarded take on stream shouldn't be that big of a deal, right? If everything is, like...
There it is. If everything in your personal life is fine, then what's upsetting you when I make jokes and, like, speculation for the sake of content at your expense? Now, I genuinely don't think that Augie knows what's wrong with this. Like, I think that this is just sort of, like... I think this is a unironic generational disconnect. I think that Tipster's gotten to the age where this kind of stuff feels very socially faux pas. I have no doubt that not Finster. Have I said Finster instead of Tipster? I keep almost saying Finster. I have a feeling that the chances are Tipster's probably got a lot of, like, IRL adult, like, grown-up friends, probably, like, other couples that are married that he hangs out with. And I think that when you're at that point in your life, I'm sure that iDubbbz is there as well, and that's a big part of, you know, what's been going on too. It's like you start to realize that the type of relationships and associations that are commonplace in, like, the internet sphere in content creation, where all the drama and the you know, accountability and the yada yada yada, whatever it may be, like, all of that is really kind of superfluous once you get to a certain point. Oh fuck! It Scout just died.
Like,
I mean,
perfectly
but
good
like,
there,
don't you
and,
think
like,
it like sucks for like both me and my wife to see like all these people commenting about how like Tipster cheats on his wife with e-girls all the time when that's simply
shit was
not the
plastic.
case?
This shit was
At least
like
I saved
plastered
another one.
all over
Like
my
I get
feed
it. Like
all
I
day
said,
or
I don't
whatever.
mind
covered
you.
it,
I don't
and
mind
gave
you.
my fucking
I don't
opinion.
mind you covering it, but like you're asking me, give me an example of something that like upset you and something that like frustrated you, and I'm telling you,
Okay.
this
Well,
is
yeah,
an
and
example of
obviously-
something.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that is true, but I am gonna defend my example, right?
Yeah,
Or defend
that's
that
fine.
example.
I'm just telling you like where I'm coming from, and if that's your opinion, like okay, cool, like that's your opinion. But like you asked for an example of tell me something that was like bothering you, and it's like, well, here's one of the things.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And again, like it's not to the point where it's like bridge burning. Like I don't have a problem with you or like anyone else, right? I'm just kind of going my own way. You know, sometimes with friendships and
Hipsters
sometimes
going
with
their own way.
you know your relationship to like different communities and stuff, you realize that this is not a healthy place for me to be. So I got to go, and that's what I did. I did what was best for me.
Well, that's interesting or whatever, but you're picking like the Keffels community.
I mean, it's not just the Keffels community. Like I've
What? Okay, so I don't think like Tipster's part of the Keffels community. I think that Tipster's cool with Keffels and likes Keffels, but like I think Tipster's just more progressive leaning, and that's what Augie means. So to be clear, the vast majority of hate for Keffels, besides like maybe a few like overreactions to some things that people find to be like annoying or like internet social faux pas, the main reason people hate her is because she's trans. Pretty much the only reason most people hate her is because she is trans. So I would say that like a large part of the hatred for Keffels is a good example of why I think or I personally think that this sphere can be pretty toxic.
I've made a lot of friends with a bunch of different communities, but like Keffels just happens to be like one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I understand that you guys don't like Keffels, and that's fine. I even understand that you guys are critical of me being friends with Keffels, right? But at the end of the day, like, you know, I had a conversation with her. We got to know each other. This is something I've always been open to doing. People I'm critical of, I have no problem sitting down and having a conversation with them. Whether it's a public live stream where we can talk about it publicly or it's a private conversation, doesn't matter. Like I'm always open to talk to somebody that I'm critical of. And she took me up on it. And through that, we kind of like got to talking, we got to know each other, and we just kind of clicked, right? And I understand people have an issue with that because they don't like who Keffels is, and that's fine. People are welcome to have whatever opinion they want.
I think it's about who
at
Keffels is. It's like what Keffels does, though. You know, they're like a serial liar, deplatformer.
Can I be honest with you about something?
Serial liar deplatformer. So the main like thing they use as an example of lying. So when they say that she's lying, I've really not seen any solid evidence of her lying. She is a deplatformer. Things like, you know, Kiwi Farms and like neo-Nazi creators and stuff, and like Matt Walsh and whatnot she once banned. One thing you must remember is that this is an example of how the EdgeTube and drama community do kind of benefit the right, is that they are very anti-deplatforming, as is the far right and neo-Nazis, because they need to maintain platforms as well as means of funding themselves in order to keep spreading their hateful movement. And so a lot of these like EdgeTubers are anti-deplatforming and anti like taking away of their abilities to make money and stuff like that, which means that they are, you know, effectively allies of the far right, at least on pretty much every issue.
Too, because I saw like you guys were like, yo, she's on the deplatform shit again because of what she said about Matt Walsh. I don't see laughing at someone who has like lost like, you know, in this case, demonetization, right? I don't see laughing at it as the same as advocating for deplatforming. Because, like, by that logic,
wait, that's
I
what
guess I'm a
she
hypocrite
did?
because I laughed at BX Bullet when she got banned. I wouldn't advocate for that. I wouldn't, like, obviously go out of my way to, like, make
But,
that
like, she
happen.
has, like, an
But when it
established
happened, I
history of,
laughed
like,
at it.
But she has like an established history of like going after people's fucking platforms. That's her goal. She doesn't
So-
just look
so
at
do
that
you
as, like,
think-
something that's funny
do you
that
think
happened.
peop-
That's part of her greater plan. Is
But
to
do you
demonetize
not think
and fuck
people
over
can, like-
people on the other side?
Do you not think people can change?
This
Has
is the
Keffels
derangement.
shown any indication that she's changed her mind?
I mean,
on
to
platforming?
me, like, I think so.
How?
But I've gotten
What
to
has she
know.
done?
I've gotten to know her.
Literally, their problem is that the left is in favor of banning Nazis. This is one of the core issues that I have with the sphere of the internet, is that, like, one of the core disagreements that we do have is that they do believe that Nazis should not only be allowed a platform, but be allowed means to build their platform and fund their platform as much as possible. And they shouldn't be discriminated against or, like, you know, shadow banned or, like, silenced in any way. Not just like, oh, freedom, they should have the right to be hateful, which is a very different position, but they should be able to be platformed on large, places like YouTube and Twitter and spread their hatred and misinfo and whatnot. Augie has said he believes that misinfo should be protected as freedom of speech on these platforms.
Or as a person, though. So
Have you talked about like her views on speech and stuff like that? Like privately?
yeah, we talk about a lot of things. I mean, at the end of the day, like, we're friends. Like, me and Keffels are friends. So, like, we talk about a lot of things.
So Keffels has told you that they no longer agree with the deplatforming. They no longer agree with going after people like that. Although if it does happen to them, they're willing to like celebrate it a little bit on Twitter.
I'm not going to disclose what
changed.
we've shared in private conversations, but I think she's changed.
Okay, well,
and
you
if you
brought it
don't
up,
agree
but-
with me, if you don't agree with me, that's fine. But like, honestly, I feel like she's on a path to changing. If you disagree, that's totally fine. But at the end of the day, I'm telling you how I feel about it.
Okay, well, I just haven't seen any indication that that's happened or whatever. And it's like, it's
mean,
not
I
that
guess
I'm
you're not-
asking you to. Well, I'm not asking you to disclose private conversations, but you did bring up that based on conversations you've had with Kevin in private.
I think she's changed.
But I just don't see that. I don't know.
I mean,
That
if you
just
don't see it, that's fine. Like,
that
if you don't
sounds
see
like
it, that's
a fucking,
fine.
Like, lie. Like, I just flat out, that just sounds like a lie. Everything from her public social media indicates that she has not changed at all.
How? Can you
Well,
elaborate?
First of all, she's celebrating the fucking Matt Walsh stuff or whatever.
Again,
right?
I don't see celebrating.
So, like, Matt Walsh is actively calling for, like, genociding trans people. He's called for the eradication of transgenderism, that transgenderism must be burnt to the ground, and that it is not acceptable that any adult be transgender in this country. He has also called for the execution of all petty criminals and drug addicts. Like, this guy is actively, like, using his platform to call for the death of Keffels. Like, Matt Walsh is actively calling for Keffels to be killed. She is a trans person, and that's part of the group that Matt Walsh is advocating for the death of. So, like, yeah, I think it's fine if she's, like, in favor of deplatforming him when it's like, would you be... Is it unreasonable for, like, a Ukrainian to be in favor of deplatforming, like, Russian nationalists who justify, like, the invasion of their country?
As like advocating for someone being deplatformed.
You don't think of the context
Again,
of
by
her
that
history of going
same
after
logic,
multiple people?
by
She
that
literally
same
took
logic,
credit for getting Destiny
by that
banned.
same logic, I'm a hypocrite because I laughed at BX Bullet getting banned. Would you say that I'm a hypocrite because I didn't advocate for it? I didn't encourage people to make that happen. I didn't send my fans to like mass
BX
flag her
Bullet
shit.
literally
But when
said
she
your
got banned, I
channel
laughed
should
at
be-
it.
But BX Bullet literally said you should be banned or whatever because you were like willing to be like charitable to like fucking like Mr. Girl or some shit like that, right? Like, wasn't that an argument she made, right? So I don't see that at all, right? But if you had a history of going
but that-
after
that-
like
but
other
that's-
streamers and attacking them specifically because of like TOS violations that you just pull out of your fucking ass because you're in a political movement that encourages like the deplatforming and the censorship of other people and stuff like that, and then it happens to somebody and then they celebrate that doesn't tell me that they've changed their mind on their position on speech.
I mean, I
because
guess
otherwise-
Okay, so Augie's conservative. Wait, he pretended like he wasn't right-wing back in the day. Wait, why'd he pretend like he wasn't conservative? Now, so he is full-on, like, he is against the left. He considers the left to be them. Like, they are the like, opposing, like, enemy of his values. Because he's in favor of, like, platforming of Nazis and stuff, and, like, that's what the left and, like, activists and stuff want Nazis deplatformed, and they don't want them, like, funded and stuff. And that's what you don't like about the left. Wait, why'd he say he wasn't a conservative? Does he claim to be a centrist? I thought he claimed he was, like, marginally progressive when I talked to him last.
We can
they'd
just
be
ag-
saying
I
stuff
get-
on
I guess we can just
they'd be
agree to
saying stuff
disagree
on Twitter
on
like,
that.
yo, I know Matt Walsh is against us or whatever, but his, demonetization, blah, blah, blah. This is not the way, we should not be attacking people like that. But no, she didn't say that, right? So how the fuck has she changed?
I mean, like I said, I'm not going to disclose what we've talked about in like private or whatever, but like based on private conversations I've had with her, I think she's changed. I think she's on a road to become like a better person. And like, if you guys don't want to like take the time to like get to know her and have those conversations, that's fine. You don't have to. But like at the end of the day, like I said, I'm always willing to have a conversation with someone that I've been critical of. And I had a conversation with her and we got to know each other. And like,
We've had
this is just how I feel about it.
We've had conversations with Keffels too, or whatever. I mean, you know, it wasn't like, it didn't leave me thinking like, oh shit, maybe this person's like, you know, a decent person or whatever. I mean, for a while, Keffels was like engaging with our community in a very obvious way to sort of siphon that edgier support, especially after her own community turned on her for saying the R word. And you keep talking about how like this community is so much better for your like mental health and stuff like that. Are you prepared for like the fucking purity testing they're about to put you through to make sure every take you give is correct? And if you don't give a correct or sensitive enough take on something, then
He's not wrong about this. He isn't wrong about this. You understand why woke scolds are so destructive to the left, right? You understand why they're so destructive, because they are the thing that people like Augie are not only able to point to, but also they probably think of when they think of the left. Like, Keffels getting canceled made Keffels look bad, or made the left look worse than it made Keffels look. That's the really frustrating thing, is that no matter what these like lefties who are trying to cancel Keffels for being racist or whatever think, their actions made the left as a whole look worse than Keffels ever could have looked from all that.
then therefore like you're like a fucking bad guy. I mean, you've seen literally what this exact same community did to Keffels 2 months ago. So even your reasoning there like doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, at the end of the day, like if this is something that I want to like engage in, like that's ultimately like my choice, right?
Yeah,
and
you
like,
can engage in it, but I'm very like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, like ultimately, like if I end up getting fucked over in this situation, whether it's from, you know, that community or whether it's from, you know, Keffels herself ends up like stabbing me in the back or something, like, I mean, it is what it is. Like I mean, what can I say? I mean, at the end of the day, it'll be more content for you guys, right?
I guess, but like I don't know, dog. That's pretty sad.
I don't know what you want me to say, right? Like,
dude, okay, this is an actual question, all right? Like, you keep talking about like your mental health and stuff like that. Don't you think it's bad to like hinge your disability of your mental health on a community that gives you like support online? Isn't that like a pretty dangerous like place to
I
set
mean,
your
like
cards?
I'm not hinging my support on a community. Like I've made friends with people who are very supportive of me, but like I feel like you guys think that like I've gone to like the Keffels community and it's like her whole community is like this big hug box for me. It's like, no, like I'm just friends with her. And I like, do I like engage with like her community through like her chat and stuff like that? Yeah, sure. But like, am I like this, like, am I super invested in her community? No, I'm just friends with her as a person.
Well, the reason why I think that you're invested is because your reasoning for leaving the commentary community is that it made your mental health feel like shit. You know, so therefore the implication is that when you go to Keffels community, it's better for your mental health.
But I'm not there for Keffels community. It just so happens that like, you know, when I'm engaging with her content or I'm engaging with her, like her community's there, right? But I'm not there for her community. I'm there for her. You see what I mean? It's kind of like when I used to like hang out like on your streams and stuff. I'm not there for like your community that's around your content. I'm there to hang out with you, right?
Right. But then, okay, so what you're saying is that you left the commentary community because it was negatively affecting your mental health. But then you went over, but you haven't replaced that with any community. You just left the commentary community.
I left the commentary community, and then I'm gonna
be honest, I really don't feel like, I didn't feel like Tipster left the commentary community for the left or whatever. It felt more like, I didn't know that Tipster had even left the commentary, like, sphere in that way. I thought that, like, at least for a while now, Tipster was just, like, chill with the commentary community and with the left. Like, he was just one of the more moderately progressive-leaning commentary affiliated, like, EdgeTuber types. But apparently he has made a concerted effort to separate himself from that area, which I guess I understand why, like, it can be pretty toxic, and I know that Augie is trying to grill him for, like, evidence on this, but it's like, this was just a choice that he individually decided to make for himself. He's not pushing it onto others or even denigrating anybody in that sphere without, like, provocation. Like, he's literally just been asked, like, what was your issue with us? And that's why he's talking about it. Besides that, he just talks about himself and his own mental health. So it just feels really weird how dedicated and defensive of like, their content sphere that Augie has been.
Like, other friends that I engage with, like, regularly.
I guess, okay, well then in that case, like, don't you think it's a little bit like of a bad idea to like hedge like the stability of your mental health on like random people you just met online?
I don't think you guys realize how long I've been talking to Keffels. I know this has only recently became like a public thing, but we've actually been talking for quite some time.
Really?
Yes.
How long?
I don't know, maybe, at least like a few months or so. It's not like, I know it only came out like the past couple weeks or whatever.
True.
But we've been talking for quite some time.
This is objectively true. I've gone into Keffel's chat for like months now, like literally since before I even left for California or for Seattle. Like literally a while before I left for Seattle. And Tipster would usually be hanging out in Keffel's chat. At least for a little while he'd hang out. He'd just come in and say hi and stuff. I'd sometimes catch him in there. So, like, this is not a new thing or anything like that. They've been friends for a while. I don't think that there's any inconsistencies with what I know in Tipster's story at all. This just feels, like, very bizarrely intrusive.
Interesting. So yeah. I guess like around the time she was interacting with our community or something.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably around the time, maybe.
Curious. Okay. Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, my question still stands, right? So you've known this person for like 2 or 3 months, and I'm not sitting here like policing, like, you can't be friends with this person or this person or whatever. I'm not sitting there.
And I'll be honest, like with some people, it does. With some people.
By the way, I just want to say, I think it would literally be completely reasonable because Augie, like, as on a personal level, I think it would be totally reasonable if Augie was so uncomfortable with like Tipster being friends with Keffels that he just decided to burn the bridge with Tipster. I don't think drama or like a hate brigade would be justifiable, but I think just burning the bridge and just deciding not to associate with Tipster anymore himself, that would be absolutely reasonable in response to Tipster choosing to be friends with Keffels. If they don't like each other on a personal level, I don't have a problem with that. I do think it is kind of, hurtful if you really don't like someone, especially if it's for more personal reasons, and someone that you're friends with is still cool with that person. It doesn't feel good, and I think it's reasonable to, like, cut off that friendship or association if that's what you choose to do, but that's not what Augie's doing here. Instead, he's, like, trying to find gotchas and being really, like, it feels like he's trying to do content bait.
People, like, it does kind of come off as that, like, it's problematic for me to be friends with this person, and I'm not saying that's you. Well, I haven't gotten that vibe from you at all, but like,
well, here's the thing of what I'm saying, right? I'm not saying you should or should not be friends with them. I'm just questioning, like, why? Like, what's the fucking point of, like,
it's literally just, we started talking and we clicked, and that's it. It's literally just that.
But yeah, but you, like, fully, like, trust them, like, with everything or whatever after, like, 3 months of content. I don't know. It just seems, like, strange to me.
I mean, have you not seen me, like, be super open with people like that before? And yeah, it's got me into trouble.
Well, I definitely have noticed that, but it's fucked you completely
this is something
asshole, like 30 times.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, I mean, like, you could look at it from that perspective and be like, yeah, it's really stupid. But, like, no, like, this is just who I am. I'm just a friendly fucking guy. Like, I don't know. And I've always been that guy.
I'll corroborate this. Wait, is it still playing? Oh, no, it is. I'll corroborate this, by the way. I will absolutely corroborate this. Even back when, like, even in times when, like, the commentary drama sphere was very much not taking favorable stances, like, about me, Tipster was always, like, possibly the most chill, like, level-headed and less, like, right-wing biased, I would say, of everybody in that sphere. and I always appreciated that. I always felt like Tipster was probably the most progressive leaning of all of them, behind maybe Boblax, or not behind, but above maybe Boblax is like a close second. I think Boblax is pretty left leaning, though I think he falls into some of the same traps that Augie does in regards to the anti-deplatforming stuff. I don't know exactly where Boblax draws the line for deplatforming, but I bet it's probably not close enough to Nazi for my liking, if I'm being honest. But like generally, I think most of the people in the drama sphere like do mean well on these issues, but end up benefiting the right more than anything, whether they mean to or not. And it sucks because the right like loves anybody pushing their shit or even just slightly leaning towards their shit, but the left isn't very rewarding to people who agree and advocate for what they believe in. As, you know, Augie just said, are you ready for the amount of purity testing and, like, cancellation, yada, 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 you're going to go through for being in this community? Everyone believes in deplatforming. The argument is where the line is. If someone says they're against it completely, they're lying. Completely true. Or they're a pedophile. Or a pedophile defender. Yeah. Because, yeah, most people are in favor of...
I don't understand. I think I'm being, like, pretty straightforward to you. But, like...
Well, no, I don't know, dog. It's just, like, to me, there's just so many fucking... just problems. You should not be going to people online to hedge your, like, mental health. And there's not be policing you to say...
I don't think
just,
he
like,
said that.
Telling you, like, honestly, like, dude, you talk to people for, like, 2-3 months. You open up to them and shit like that. They fuck you over every single time or whatever. And it's, like... I don't know, like it's. I'm not going full Medicare and saying like internet people aren't your friends or anything like that, but they shouldn't be your closest friends. That's for sure, because it just doesn't fucking work. And then you're like, I still can't get over this like clip of you like talking about like this suicide shit or whatever, like implying.
I didn't say that I was committing suicide. I've seen people commenting on that, and I'm like, dude, like. Did I get emotional and did I have a moment on stream? Yeah, I did. And the reason why I ended that stream and deleted the VOD is because I'm like, this should not be happening. So I ended my stream and I deleted the VOD because I had like this moment of like, I mean, I've talked about how I deal with like a depression disorder and shit like that. And it just kind of hit me, right? And so I had this moment and like very quickly I realized this should not be happening on stream. I need to go. So I ended my stream and I deleted the VOD. But did I say that, like, I was going to kill myself or anything like that? No. Like, what I said was, I was in a really dark place. I was having a bit of a mental health crisis, and I needed to make changes in my life to improve that.
That sounds reasonable to me.
Interesting. Well, I mean, I guess that's really... I don't know. All I have to ask.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like, what? Like, what?
I don't know. This conversation is goofy as fuck.
I mean, why? Like, I was open to have this conversation with you. I figured this is what you wanted to ask me about. And I'm just like, whatever, we'll talk about it.
I'm asking you. I mean, Boblack says he has one tip question.
What?
I don't know. He just said he has one tip question. I don't know, bro. I mean, I'm just saying, like, to me, like, everything you're doing, like, the answers you're giving me or whatever I'm hearing it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. It just seems like
that's fine. It doesn't
multiple
have to make
bad approaches.
I mean, it doesn't have to make sense to you. At the end of the day,
it's just gonna hurt you more in the long run. That's
I mean, at the end of the day, here and now. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying that you're taking like your fucking problems like with like your mental health out in like a fucking community that I really don't think has that much to do with it. It's more so just like how you perceive things on the fucking internet. You know, you are right that you respond to everything or whatever, right? Or
but like you acknowledge that like, you know, your surroundings can be like unhealthy for you, right? Especially for someone who does struggle with like mental health stuff. So like if you're noticing
like, worse surroundings,
but I don't see it that way. It's like I said, I think you guys think that I'm like more involved with like this because you guys like think it's Keffel's community. You specifically mentioned Keffel's community. I'm not as involved in her community as you think. I'm not there for her community. I'm there for her as a person, this person that I've befriended.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, from your perspective, I guess.
I mean, if you don't agree with it, like that's fine. But I'm telling you, like this is the way it is.
Interesting. Tipster, are you gonna ever come back home?
I'm not coming home. I really truly felt like it was an
kinda made this
unhealthy
pretty
place for me to
awkward.
be, and I needed to leave for the betterment of me. And like I'm in the best place mentally I've been in a long time. And I know that people think that like I guess this new me is like weird or whatever the fuck, and like that's fine. But like I'm happier than I've ever been.
Like fucking, it's because you sound like iDubbbz or whatever, like when you speak. Like,
Oh,
you're doing
no,
the whole spiel,
there
I used
it
to be in the
is.
toxic community, blah blah blah.
Bro, did I not chat? Can we rewind the tapes? Did I not bring up iDubbbz as an example of one of the people that they accuse of sucking now simply because he just kind of like grew up out of like the super ridiculously childish hyper irony poison like the N-word's the funniest shit ever kind of shit, right? Like a lot of it really is just like bitterness about like people growing up. Cause like a lot of these EdgeTuber adjacent like people, they literally view like 2016 and that era of like leafy YouTube internet dominance as like this golden age they harken back to, like you know how the conservatives post those memes that are like, this is what they took from us? These people post memes that are like an image of Leafy's lack of a chin and say, this is what YouTube took from us. Like that's where these people are.
It's just like that whole logic is so like retarded. Because
I
like,
mean,
you're acting...
I mean, hot take. Like, I know that iDubbbz doesn't like really handle these situations very well, but I don't have a problem with iDubbbz if he feels like he wants to change as a person. I don't see that as an issue. Like, I know like a lot of you guys in that scene see that as like, oh well, he's like cucking or whatever. I don't agree. Like, if he wants to change as a person, then whatever.
I don't see like there being a necessary point to change. Like you're acting like you're in like a fucking cult or something. That's like the part that's like doesn't make any sense to me. You're acting like you're a part of something evil and like you did things you're not proud of anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that is.
I mean,
is it drama content? Well, you said it's not about the
I don't know how to
people.
explain it to you.
I don't know what there is to explain, right? It just
it's the vibe of the community.
I don't know. I literally don't know.
I don't know how to explain it to you. It was just a unhealthy place.
I want to
for
know
me to be,
what
so
I'm doing right now that's like bad that I should probably stop doing if it's like eating.
I
my
mean,
soul up
you can
inside.
do whatever you want. Like, I'm living
But what
my
should
life
I
and I'm
do?
doing what I want, and I'm not going to tell you how to live your life or run your content or whatever. Do what you want to do, and that's fine.
But okay, so I'm doing like evil shit or whatever. It's like I want to know what
Who
that
said
is.
you were
love how he
doing? Who said you were
exaggerates
doing
the
evil
wording.
shit?
You're saying I'm part of a toxic fucking negative. I'm just trying to figure out what that
It was a
means.
toxic place for me, is what I'm saying. Like, if you're fine with
really
that
trying to
environment,
destiny this
that's
debate.
fine. You do
But it's
you.
not, like-
But it was a toxic place for me.
Augie, like, listen, I'm not trust me. I am not one to just like blatantly accuse someone of like, you know, kind of sounding a lot like Destiny, but holy shit, is it clear that Augie has been watching a lot of Destiny lately? I can tell that Augie's been watching a bit more Destiny lately than maybe usual. And he's trying to go about this debate the exact same way that Destiny goes about conversations, or most debates, but this isn't a debate. This isn't even like the format of most conversations Destiny has, so it just kind of comes off as super awkward.
All right. Boblax wants to ask you a question or whatever.
Sure.
Okay.
Tip!
What's up, my
bro?
dude? How's it going?
Yo. I'm a little high, so hopefully this comes across.
I can tell.
Well,
I can tell.
kind of low-key
I love
answered
weed.
it just before I came in, but my biggest issue is when you talk about like, oh, I left the community or whatever, you say like, I used to be so toxic, and I'm sorry to any
'Cause I think I
toxicity I
was.
contributed. But you're saying the community's toxic. You're saying
Were
you
you
were
like-
toxic in
Do
it.
you
So
do you
like,
guys not comprehend that sometimes the community you're in can have an impact on you as a person?
I think it's made me a better person.
I mean, if it's made you a better person, great. That's awesome. That's awesome for you. Then hey, that works for you.
But you, like,
it didn't work for me.
You were like apologizing to anyone who like got.
Is there something wrong with that?
You were toxic. Like I'm just curious. Like, what actions did you do that were like so toxic? Because I know
I feel like
for
me, I feel like there's a difference between like being critical of someone because they said or did something stupid, or having a laugh because somebody said or did something stupid, and like getting super like heated to the point of like you're literally sending like hatred towards a person. And I felt like it got to that point with me, right?
Oh,
and if you guys
like,
disagree, that's
content?
fine. Yeah.
So you were like, dude, I never remember you covering something where you were like, go harass this person. This
I mean,
there's
you don't always have to say go.
Oh, welcome to chat, Tipster. Oh no, I came back at a bad time. No, I feel like you made good timing. I think you're doing pretty well. One thing I will say is that, like, you've gone about this so far coming off as, like, a very reasonable, just kind of like you're just his chill friend who, like, came into the call because he wanted to talk about, like, a statement you made about your mental health, and now he's gone full on to, like, trying to gotcha about your own experiences in mental health, and it feels very bizarre. But I think you're doing really well, Tipster. I will read your additional info you added into the description at the end of the debate, because I think it's probably going to be the best place to include it. That didn't do it? Damn, this guy's strong. This guy's nape is made of steel!
Go harass this person to direct harassment towards a person. It doesn't always have to be vocalized.
I'm just like, yeah.
Fuck you, Diorio.
I'm just like,
Nicholas fat ass Diorio is being toxic right now. Ban this motherfucker. No, Tipster.
I just have never seen you do something toxic, so I'm so curious what that would have been.
Well, let me ask. Like, were you too toxic to like Susie Lou? Like, is that who you're too toxic to? Like, what was an example of something that you did?
You brought up Susie Lou. Do I think I took it too far sometimes? Yeah, sure.
Really? Even though she was trying to like steal our money and shit.
I mean, just because she's trying to steal our money doesn't mean like I can't maybe go too far in my coverage or whatever. I mean, like one of the biggest criticisms I got was that I did way too many fucking videos on her, right?
And so like doing work.
It got to a point where like it was kind of obsessive at times, no? And like if you disagree, that's fine. If you disagree, that's fine.
Yeah.
The way I see it, she was a dumb bitch who was like trying to fucking. Well, I don't think this anymore, by the way. This is what I used to think in May of 2020, YouTube. But, you know, my view of it was like, this person was like trying to get me demonetized, flagging me, going after my stuff. This person has...
Hey, by the way, May of 2020, I'm almost certain was just a couple months before I would have my first, like, conversation with, like, this entire sphere. And it was on the premise of the idea that, like, they kind of push some maybe a little bit, maybe don't like women too much, you know, especially in the streamer space. Damn, what would 2020 May Augie have said? I feel like they thought it was about them, but it was not about them. It was the entire community. Yeah, I feel like they saw it as like an attack, that you felt that the community and that sphere just wasn't good for you, when all it really is, and this is going to happen to a lot of people, is like, you're going to reach an age and a point of like experience in life where you're just like, this shit is nothing but negativity nonstop, and there's nothing I'm actually enriching my life with from this, you know? And it just becomes very clear the best thing to do is to move on from it. But like, Augie's like 21, right? Like, this stuff is still very much either seems like it's important, or, you know, you're still so young that you still have the luxury of treating it like it's important, if that makes sense.
No respect for me as a human being or my right to even like speak. So therefore, fuck them, you know? Like, that's my attitude, right? It's like, if somebody doesn't even...
It's literally that. I'm 36 years old now, and that shit ain't for me anymore. Yeah, I totally get that. That completely makes sense. Like, at a certain point, you know, you've lived enough life, and you've probably had enough, like, adult real-life interactions that you realize how low stakes and overly, like, complicated and negative online, like, social interaction is. Like, literally, the real thing is easier.
If somebody doesn't even like have like enough courtesy to like even think that you have the ability to fucking respond or not without flagging your ass, that's a pretty good person to dismiss all charitability and kindness to, don't you think? And you don't even have to do that to like fucking harass them or like fucking shit on them or something. That's just what it doesn't make sense to me. It's like you never did anything. Tipster, your coverage was always very like fucking milquetoast, like middle of the road. I never saw you fucking fire up a stream and be like a fucking hateful fucking piece of shit to somebody. That just never fucking happened.
I don't know. I mean, like at the end of the day, like I feel the way I feel about it. If you guys disagree with it, that's fine. But like,
Well,
that's just,
yeah, I know how you
That's
feel
how I
about
feel
it, but
about
I'm just curious, like, if it extends to, you know, other people doing the same thing that you consider toxic for
no,
yourself.
I'm not judging
'cause
anyone else for
I've
doing
made
like
like
what you guys
3
want to
items
do.
videos in the last week. Am I up? And you said there's like a line between harassment and criticism.
3 items
you felt
videos
like you
in
went
a
into the
week,
harassment
fuck.
line. Do you think I'm harassing?
I'm sure I've
items
made
by
almost
making
that many, right?
3 videos in a week on the subject.
I mean, I'm not judging what you guys are doing. You guys are doing what you guys want to do, and that's fine. I don't understand. I don't understand why it's so much of a problem for me to make decisions in my life that I feel are to better myself.
No, I don't have an issue with that, and I've told.
That's
you
all I'm
this,
doing.
sister, I
That's
don't
all
have
I'm
an issue
doing.
With that.
Retarded,
I'm just.
I mean, if you think it's
curious.
retarded, whatever. But like,
there it is.
I made
There we
my
go,
decision
okay.
because that's what I wanted to do.
All right, it's getting juicy.
All right.
It's getting juicy
I don't
now.
fucking- I don't have anything.
There's like 2 different arguments here, right? There's like the Keffels argument, and then there's like the our community is toxic argument. I like if Tipster wants to be friends with Keffels, I personally don't have an issue with that. He can be friends with whoever he wants. So on that side of it, I guess I'm on Tipster's side or whatever. But on the other one with the
Facebook
toxic
lives.
community, like I guess he's just saying like he felt like he was too toxic for him personally. But if I look at how toxic Tipster was,
Well,
which in
it's
my
sort of a
opinion isn't
cycle
that
of
toxic,
negativity.
and compared to me, I think it's pretty equal. So I'm wondering, like, if Tipster's opinion, if Tipster thinks he's toxic, what does he think of us? Does he think we're like crazy toxic, and is that why he left the community, right? So do you understand like that perception I might extrapolate from
Yeah, so
your words?
you're taking all these
Even
like,
if it's not
veiled
correct.
shots at us like in general, but I never know if you're specifically talking about me or if you're talking about anything that
Yeah.
I've done. So that's like the point of this fucking call. It's not to be a fucking fireside chat or to be like you should talk to other people. It's more so like, what do you think of us? What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, and we're
What is happening?
you were never
Like,
clear about it, so we were just like, hey, like,
to be honest,
Are
I
we too
still
toxic?
don't know.
I don't know, you know?
I mean, at the end of the day, like, do I have like a personal issue with you guys? No. There's a reason why, like, I didn't like unfollow you or block you or anything like that. It's just like it is what it is, you know. So like, I don't understand why this is confusing.
Because you haven't
Oh,
told
no,
me
I'm-
anything. That's why
What
it's
do you mean?
confusing.
We just had a whole conversation for like what the past half hour?
Your whole conversation. Every time I ask you like a question of like, what am I doing that's bad? Blah blah. Or you're like, well, I don't want to tell you what you're doing is bad or something.
That's
like
not
that.
what
mean,
I.
just
That's
to
not
me
what I
it's
said
bad.
at all.
But you're just saying like to you, it's just something you don't want to be a part. I don't
Yeah.
know.
This feels so.
It's that simple. I feel like
It feels so weird how confrontational he's trying to be. He said earlier that they're just trying to check if the things that Tipster described as toxic about the drama community were things that they were doing. And I can understand the concern about, like, okay, are you saying that we're toxic? What are we doing that's toxic? But, like, there's a whole lot of, like, community shit that happens that's kind of based on some premises that aren't even agreed upon right now. Like, the idea that, like, here's an example. I'm almost certain Tipster probably, you can speak up if you disagree with this, Tipster, but I don't want to speak over you if you disagree, but I think it's a good chance Tipster probably believes that, like, referring to women who do OnlyFans for that reason as whores or, like, sluts or, like, I don't know, just using, like, making different comments that are based around the idea of dehumanizing and shitting on, like, sex workers and stuff. That's probably not something that Tipster's, like, anywhere near as on board with as, like, Augie and Boblax are. Or probably mostly Augie. It's shit like that, right? Like, there are some pretty serious prescriptions, you know, like the misogyny stuff and whatnot. Yeah, not too fond of that. You're spot on. Yeah, it's stuff like that you could get into a whole argument over, but that's a whole other debate to get into, you know? Then you're having a political argument. And that's a whole other can of worms to open up, you know? Hold on, I'm Levi moding right now. Hold on, I gotta Levi mode real fast. Okay, first let me get some gas, then I'll leave my mode.
I feel like we're going
How
in
do you
circles
not
right now.
recognize that that's like a vague answer? It is going in circles.
It doesn't seem vague to me.
You haven't given any specifics of like anything that I've done that's toxic.
I literally told you about something that like bothered me. Like,
Other
what do you
than,
mean?
like a personal thing that I said about you, but it's like, am I doing that on all of my streams? That's toxic or whatever, where I'm just like fucking slandering people about their fucking relationships or whatever.
Did I
don't
say
think
that?
Well, you're saying that I exhibit toxic behavior, but you give me like one specific example. What do I like? Do you have anything else? Like the multiple? I do streams on too many people. I hate the people that I cover. Anything like? I'm not saying.
Why are you asking?
I'm
Why are you asking what you're doing for
Good
your
response.
content? You're doing what you want to do with your content, and I've decided that I don't want to do that
response.
anymore. Like
because you made such a big deal out of leaving. I just want to know like what the fuck.
Did you really?
Happened,
I don't think he made a
and your
big deal
answers
out
are
of
so vague.
leaving.
I still don't even know. Other
think-
than that,
I
the
didn't even
community was,
know.
like mean to you.
This video is the first I've
Which
seen
is
of
like,
it.
okay, well, they're fucking, I mean, they're not generally mean to me, but every once in a while, somebody from the community will say something, but it's like not that big of a fucking deal. It's like, whatever. It's like, okay, this is just
I mean, if
the
it's
fucking
not-
internet. You're not going to escape these problems like by joining another community. I don't know if you think that is going to happen or whatever, but it's like people are always going to say
I feel like
you're
trying to really extrapolate things out of this that aren't there.
Well, I
ma-
have to because you haven't told me anything.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've been telling you a lot, like this whole like past
You've been
half
very
hour or
clear. I
whatever.
think
Like,
anyone in
I
good
just feel like
faith
this
knows.
conversation isn't
We're
really getting anywhere.
extrapolating things and we're asking for corrections because obviously you know the answers. So
And
we
I'm
wanna,
correcting you
see
because
if
like
our-
Augie said something
Yeah,
that I said that I
course.
didn't actually say. So like,
So you think that
My whole point is that I'm not trying to burn bridges. I was trying to leave amicably and just do things on my own. Yeah, I think that's
like,
completely
making comment
reasonable.
a
Oh,
lot of
fuck. Sorry, I didn't mean to press play. I think it's completely reasonable. I think what the big disconnect here is that they see you growing out of that type of behavior as you implicitly saying you're better than them. It's the same thing as like why they really hate iDubbbz, I think. I think that iDubbbz just kind of like not even calling them out specifically, but like calling out things such as when he talked about that story about the weird like basement dwelling neckbeard weirdos that would come up to him in public at the store and say like the N-word and stuff out loud because they thought that's what he was into. And that's what made him realize he didn't really want to like influence people in that way. Like people reacted to that. I know literally Augie and Boblax both reacted to that as though that was like iDubbbz shitting on them and attacking his old fan base. And it's like, are you guys basement dwelling losers who scream the N-word in public when you see your favorite YouTuber because you think that would be like really funny? Because that's what he's describing and denouncing. So it's like, why do you take issue with him moving away from this, you know? I think they see what I'm doing as pulling an iDubbbz and they see that as negative, but I don't see it as negative. That's the disconnect. Yeah, I actually like literally predicted that they were going to compare you to iDubbbz earlier, like before we even started the debate. It's wild. Yeah, I mean, I called it. They were going to do that because it's literally just the concept of personal growth is threatening to them. It seems at least.
commentary videos on one topic or whatever. It got obsessive for you, and it felt like you in your own head, not like the content itself, but you in your own head were getting toxic because of the content you were making. But like for me, for example,
Yeah, I wasn't
the content making that wouldn't be toxic in my head, so therefore it's toxic for you, but not for me. Is that correct?
I mean,
Or am I
you're
off
clear.
here?
You're clearly fine with the content you're making. So yeah, it works for you, and that's fine.
All right.
I want to do something different.
I don't know. This convo's going in circles, and I'm kind of bored of it right now. But I appreciate you, Tipster, giving
was
me
in there
these
for
fucking,
content.
this conversation. But I
Yeah,
mean,
no problem.
He was
look,
trying
I'll
to
just end
content
it off
farm.
saying this, man. It's like I feel like you're going down a really bad road, dude.
I don't
Like,
think so. I genuinely don't think so.
I really do. Like, you're
I
fucking
don't think
in a
so.
community with a
I'm
bunch of
genuinely
psychopaths, you're alive. Everything you're complaining about is still going to happen. It just seems retarded to me. But that's just my take. I don't know,
it
dude.
just seems really silly to like be so concerned about like what I'm doing to
I'm not
basically
concerned about it. I'm just commenting on it.
I'm trying to better myself, and like I don't understand why that's a problem.
It's not a problem to me that you're trying to better yourself. It's just the way that
I
you're
think
going
I think
about
you
it.
guys
Well,
don't
to be fair,
understand.
okay, it sort of implicates
Well-
my community when you talk about all of the negative shit that we do or whatever, right? So I have to figure that out. what is he talking about? What does he mean?
We
I'm
just
curious.
have questions. It's not like.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
And me, yeah, I don't know.
Like, if you're gonna implicate my community into it, obviously I'm gonna be curious about what's going on. You can't just sit there and be like, why is he obsessing over my decisions? It's like, well, it relates to me directly, right? So
I don't know.
of course I'm gonna ask about that.
All right. Well, I don't know.
Talk
I
to you later,
don't know
dude.
what to say.
This was
All
bizarre.
right, you guys have a good one.
All right,
Okay,
see you
good
later,
night,
man.
bro.
They made it awkward.
Okay. That was fucking interesting.
I feel like Augie made it awkward.
But whatever, man.
Like, unironically, like, Tipster, I feel like you were very, like, not even just cordial, but, like, you spoke in a way that made the conversation flow less awkwardly and weirdly compared to Boblax, I feel. Oh my god, that cannon is shredding this abnormal apart. This is what we needed. Hot damn. I overall think that you, like, did a really good job of seeming less awkward and weird. Because, like, it really does, at least from my perspective, feel like you were doing exactly what you intended to. Just explaining why you were making a choice about your, like, content creation and association for your own, like, mental health and your own good. And they seem to take it as, like, a threat, or not as a threat, but as, like, some sort of threatening sign that you were becoming woke, essentially. Like, they didn't outright say it, because it's kind of cringe to even say that among EdgeTube, but, like, it does kind of seem like they're worried you're going woke. You know, they haven't outright said it, but that's basically what they're saying. Is that, Tipster, no, you can't go woke. You're going woke, Tipster, no! That's what happens if you go woke, guys. Look what happened to that Titan. That is what will happen if you go woke. Boblax was super reasonable. I think Boblax is generally pretty chill. With Augie, I feel like he took it as personal attack, and therefore it did feel awkward at times. Yeah, like, it feels like when you were talking broadly about things that can happen in the community, like, he took it personally. And it's like, I feel like Augie should be totally fucking on board with, what's it called? With, like, having a toxic community. Is he not encouraging his community to be toxic to some extent, at least, like, in areas where he views it as justified? Not by them, but by others in that scene? Yeah, like, it's not even them specifically, yeah. Like, generally, I think that Augie and Boblax, generally don't really go that far over, like, even, like, over the line. It's usually the audience. Like, if you go into the average Boblax, or not even Boblax, but the average AugieRFC tweet, go in the replies of, like, any of his tweets that approximate something politically, like, involved, and you were gonna see a lot of, like, Groiper Sheckelstein accounts posting, like, Nazi shit in the replies, you know? Like, there is a fair amount of that. It happens. Let me go ahead and read the description really quickly so we can see the left out context that Tipster added, because there was a little bit of extra details that he added on. Note: I wanted to take a moment to clarify a couple of things I didn't communicate well in this conversation. After having some time to revisit the conversation and reflect on it, I realized I couldn't find the words to vocalize my points in the moment, so here it goes. When I said that I felt like I was becoming a toxic person myself, what I was referring to was engaging in social media dog piles. Criticism of someone in content is one thing, but the social media dog piles and constant antagonizing of these people, especially on Twitter, I feel goes too far, and in my opinion, it ventures into legitimate harassment. In the past, I engaged in some of that behavior, and I regret it. I'm not proud of the past instances of engaging in that type of behavior. AugieRFC also talks about me hinging my mental health on Keffels and her community. It gives me the vibe that he thinks I'm treating her and her community like my personal therapist, which isn't the case. I have a therapist for that, but part of the work part of working on your mental health isn't just going to therapy, getting medicated, or other forms of medical and psychiatric treatment. It's also removing yourself from situations that are unhealthy for you, and that is what I am doing. The fact that Keffels and I developed a friendship around the time I decided to make an effort to better myself, which included separating myself from unhealthy spaces, is pure coincidence and has nothing to do with any efforts to work on my personal well-being and personal growth. Anyway, I just wanted to clarify these things because I feel like I did a poor job of doing so in the moment. But I want to thank all of you for the feedback as well as the support. Making efforts to make positive change in your life isn't always easy and often involves tough decisions that are very difficult to make. So the support is definitely sincerely appreciated. Thank you. Based. I really liked this. I think you did a good job. I do think you did a good job. I think it was like kind of like, you know, inherently a pretty toxic, weird kind of like discussion to be in, and I imagine you're gonna get a lot of hate for this. I feel like if you want to like do a follow-up in private with Augie, you could probably cite a lot of the comments on this video as evidence of what you mean by like this sphere can be pretty toxic. Am I wrong or am I right? I feel like the comment section probably stands as a pretty good demonstration of what you meant by that. At least some of the comment section, not all of it, but at least some. But yeah, people dogpile you for this shit. They really will. He hopped in my chat saying he wanted to talk, so that's why that combo happened in the first place. Ah, I see. Oh, I see you're in a website chat now. Pog. Yeah, I think that I think it was overall a good combo. It's really unfortunate how much like the right has their claws dug into EdgeTube and like the commentary drama community, because it feels like it's almost one big amorphous blob at this point, but it's really not. Like there is more nuance to it than that. It's just it can look like that from the outside looking in when there's so much like edginess and like toxicity from like the surface looking down.